beats.
So while we talking about levels, obviously you played well, I'm not gonna say obviously because anybody who's gonna fall in here or anybody that watches this or listens to this on the playback, they don't know. Can you expand or expound upon like your football playing experience? Because I know playing with you in flag football, obviously you were playing defense, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you in college that you play defense.
I never played defense until flag football.
And I've seen you in the chat a couple of times where we talk about Cooper Kupp. You said you played the slot, so you know how difficult it is to do the shit to do the type of shit that Cooper Kupp is doing. So can you like kind of get into that bag a little bit about like your college experience?
So what I'll say is this: so obviously I played high school football.
Where did you play at high school?
East St. Louis Senior High School.
Damn, you went to East St. Louis. That's why you be going so hard for East St. Louis.
So I went to East St. Louis my freshman, sophomore year.
That makes sense.
And then I transferred to school O'Fallon. It was just a better school, right? At that point, you kind of understand like I was but 12. So at that point, you kind of understand like you're probably not gonna get nothing for football, right? So you moved us to a better high school, and I ended up getting a track scholarship. But nonetheless, I got out of high school, and then I went to the military. I was playing in the military, right? And it's kind of just like high school, right? Where if you just a dude, you just a dude. Like everybody's gonna have at least one or two dudes on their team. If you just a dude, you just a dude. So my first year playing in California, I think I had like 27 touchdowns. I had 27 touchdowns. So
in a year?
In the year. In the year. So these guys from a junior college up there ended up coming down like my second year. And I was like, hey man, like when you getting out? And I'm like, I'll get out in a couple months. If it was like, well, if you get out, we will pay for you to go to school,
Word.
So I got out, they paid for me to go to a junior college, went to a junior college out there for 2 years. And then you kind of realize like the differences. Like I went from playing like high school football to college, and you realize like, oh, these dudes ain't much bigger than I thought they was gonna be. I'm thinking these dudes gonna be huge, but they're not much bigger than I thought they were gonna be. They just faster, right? Like from high school to junior college. So we went from high school to junior college. They were just, everybody's just a little bit faster, right? The game's a little bit faster. The field kind of shrinks. Well, it doesn't really shrink, but like the players get a little bit bigger. So the space that you occupy is a little different.
Yeah.
I had a decent little career out there. We were primarily a running football team. So like, you catch the balls that you can catch, right? You catch the balls that you can throw. I think my second.
Hey, I like context. When you say you guys were primarily a running football team, like what we doing? What we single wing, double wing?
Oh no, we just ran a power I, mostly 12 personnel. Okay. So you got two receivers, two tight ends. So we primarily a running team. I still end up catching like my sophomore season. I'm catching like 22 passes for 400 yards, a couple touchdowns.
22 passes for okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couple touchdowns. And then from there I went on to Eastern. I ended up one of my homies from that junior college ended up signing with Eastern. And for me, it was just like I graduated early, so I ain't have time. Like at this time, I'm almost 30 years old, so I don't got time to be waiting around until the next semester to see if I don't got time for all of that. Like I got a kid, I'm almost 30. Like I'm out. If somebody want to pick me up, they'll pick me up. The idea was to come back here since I enlisted in Illinois. School was free, so I ain't really have to worry about a scholarship, right? I can go to school tuition free. I only got to pay room and board. So I ended up. He's like, man, send your tape to Eastern, man. So I sent my tape. He's like, bro, we want you to walk on. So I came as a preferred walk on. And I just started balling. Like in the spring, started balling. From there, I ended up getting a scholarship to cover the room and board portion of it. And then the first year, we was just trash. Like we had an old coach that was stuck in his ways. Like he was an old coach. He came to prominence running a power I offense, running the rock. He just didn't have the roster for it, right? Your lineman ain't big enough for it. Your backs ain't big enough for it. Like you got a different kind of roster. So the first year I was there, it was 1-9, right? But at the end of the day, I didn't care. Like for me, it was just like, man, I get to play football.
Yeah,
season one, and it was free, right? Whatever. I'm doing what I want to do. Doing what I said I was going to get out to do. And then after that season, that coach retired. So we ended up getting a guy from Baylor, Coach Dino Babers. And he bought, at the time, this is when
Syracuse,
Baylor,
right? Is he at Syracuse now?
He's at Syracuse now, yeah.
Okay.
Syracuse now. So this is at the time when Baylor was running that up-tempo offense. So he bought that off.
The Art Browse joint.
Correct. So he bought that offense to Eastern. First year we was there. We went, I think 7-6. We ended up going to the playoffs. We won the conference, right? Won the conference. And then I had one more year left. I had one more year left after that. And it like during my time, like I had decent seasons, nothing too big, right? I'm playing behind cats, right? I'm playing behind juniors and seniors, right? At this point, but and that they're looking at me like, oh man, you're 30.
I'm about to say you're 30 playing behind juniors and seniors.
These cats is like 18, 19, 20,
yeah,
whatever. Nonetheless, the last year I was out there, we ended up going like 12-2. Like we went 12-2, went all the way to the semifinals and the semis, and lost in the semis at home. We was the number 2 ranked team in the country off that offense, right? He just knew that coach.
This is with Dino, right?
Correct. He just knew what that style of offense worked with the player, with the roster.
You want to know what's crazy about this story is that this is like one of the reasons why I created the pit, because it's like you don't even be knowing that you be communicating or passing through or talking to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Who you talking to, man? You never know who you're talking to. That's why.
I've known you for like 6-7 years. I never knew you played for Dino Babers. I never knew at any point that you used to play for Dino Babers.
Play for Dino Babers. Jimmy Garoppolo was on my court.
Now I want to get into that. Now I do know, like, all right, so I seen you talk about it, but I always want to ask you because I didn't know. Did you play with Jimmy G, or were you there when he? I
caught like 3 touchdowns from Jimmy G. Still got the football signed.
Get the fuck out of here! You ain't cut it out.
Yeah, I played with Jimmy G.
Because I know Jimmy G went to Eastern, so he was there with you.
Yeah, Jimmy G. That last year I played with him. He threw 54 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He had like 5,000 yards. I think somewhere over 5,000 yards, and we still had a 2,000 yard back. I mean, it was just the offense. Nobody could stop the offense, right? It was just a different kind of offense. Nobody, like that year, we were beating people.
Smash mouth spread joint, right?
Right. We were up. We went up to Northern Illinois, and we were up on Northern Illinois 21-3 within the first 5 minutes of the game.
Did you win that?
And that's the year they went to the Orange Bowl and beat Florida State. They ended up beating us. I think it was 47-42. Because obviously, like once you get into a game, you're playing a D1. This is a true Division 1.
That when they had
Jordan Lynch. Yeah.
Not Paxton Lynch. Paxton Lynch was Buffalo.
Yeah, I think it was Jordan Lynch.
I
mean, they had a decent squad, but like even they were kind of like, damn, like because you can't prepare for something like that. Your scout team offense can do whatever they want to do. You can't prepare.
Jordan Lynch was a Heisman finalist that season, wasn't he?
I think he was. Yep.
Like if he wasn't in the top 5, I know it was like in like the top 7.
I think he was in the top 5. I think he did go to New York. I believe so.
But this is crazy because, like I said, I never knew you played for Dino Babers. Like, and I think I assumed that you played with Jimmy G, but I didn't. I never seen you like actually say it. I think. But something told me that you did because I know you're a fan of Jimmy G. Because I think
and that for me is so everybody just thinks I be talking all this stuff about Fields, right? And everybody want to say that the coach is not mentoring the quarterback, right? Jimmy G was you knew he was good, right? Even when we were running the block, right?
Even at Eastern
offense with the old coach. You knew he was good, right?
Even at Eastern?
Yeah, even at Eastern. You did the first year I played with Jimmy G, all we did was run the ball, right? And then like the second and third year I played with him, like we went from a running offense to the passing offense. Like the first year, like we had some lumps, right? Everybody's learning the offense, everybody's trying to get the rhythm. That last year he was there, like 54 touchdowns, 5 interceptions is not easy, bro. It wasn't like he was sitting back throwing like right now you see what he's doing, right? A lot of quick game, a lot of stuff inside the middle of the field, right? That's just the nature of that offense, right? Now his last year at Eastern, my man had 5,000 yards. That man was slinging that thing all around the field, right? Like, but you can just tell, like, sometimes it ain't the coach, right? Sometimes it's just he got to be put. It's just anybody, it's just in any sport, right? Sometimes you got to be put in the right situation, right? Like, he was put in the right situation at the right time with the right coach, right? And it wasn't like that coach did anything different, right? He didn't do anything different with him, right? He just utilized the tools that he had. Like, these are the tools that you got. All right, what are we going to do with these tools, right? There's a lot of coaches in the NFL that aren't. Most coaches in the NFL are not going to adjust their whole scheme to fit one guy unless it's that guy, like Lamar Jackson.
Right, Lamar Jackson.
Offense philosophy for Lamar Jackson, right? But most guys are going to take the tools that you got and kind of build around their own offensive philosophy, right? That's what you should do, right? I can't just change up my whole. This is what got me to this point, this offensive philosophy or whatever, right? Unless you have one of those guys, right? Like, Jimmy G is a very serviceable quarterback. Like, even in the NFL, like, people don't understand he has 2 Super Bowl rings.
I'm about to say, went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he has 2 Super Bowl rings with the Patriots, where the second season is where he filled in for Tom Brady when Tom Brady was out, and he went like 4-0 and 4-1, something like that. And then he left, and then he took San Francisco to the Super Bowl, and they should have won that Super Bowl against Pat Mahomes.
Yeah,
right. He would have had 2 Super Bowls where he was just, one of the guys just helping out, and then a Super Bowl. He had 1 Super Bowl where he was just on the roster. Right. He would have another Super Bowl where he was a guy who contributed, because when Tom Brady went out, he won them 4 games. And then he would have then went to I took my own team to a Super Bowl. And I mean, he was within 2 or 3 minutes of winning the game. Right.
Hey,
so very good quarterback. They're a sleeper team. They're a sleeper team this year.